Welcome back to WARFELLAS Podcast, everyone. If this is your first time tuning in, we're just a group of fellas who like Warframe and we share our thoughts online. My name is Jason, I'm your host, and joining me on this episode we have Callum.
Hello.
Reuben.
Hello.
Wow. It's a great
Hi.
introduction.
Josh.
Yeah, this is Josh, and I hope we can at least entertain you with our most probably accurate facts.
Yes, our facts. We do episodes once every 2 weeks, coinciding with Barracuteer's visits, and we talk banter, memes, and content. All this and more on the WARFELLAS Podcast. Stay tuned to find out more.
I assure you the content is more interesting than our introductions.
Yes. We hope, at least.
The bar's been set pretty low.
Yeah, it can only go higher now.
That's the plan.
What do you guys mean? Like, if you want more words and content, I expect a payment and a subscription to my OnlyFans. Thank you.
Your
It's
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. We've
Yeah,
moved up from a
Damn
box of
boxes
sand.
stand.
Boxes
That is
stand.
my OnlyFans. I'll have you know.
I'll link them to your Twitch at this point, Callum.
Good man.
Alright, so in the news lately, we have the ability workshop on the 15th. We'll get to that in a moment. That's the 15th of August. I screwed that up last time. Heart of Deimos update, the big thing revealed at Tennocon we're all waiting for, releases on the 25th. That's 10 days after the workshop. And the big reveals included the Helminth system, which is going to allow us to actually swap abilities between frames, which looks interesting. The infested open world with its modular dungeons. The new Warframe that's coming up, Xaku. The Hydroid Prime trailer. And of course they said we have to find a new meme now. And, well, of course, the stream rewards. I got my Trivia Glyph email today. Any of you who participated might want to check for that.
Does that mean you actually had to score well in the trivia?
I don't think they gave it to people who had negative 40,000 points.
That was a very interesting way they did the trivia, actually. I was wondering how, like, they were going to handle ties and so on, but the way the points just changed so quickly, goodness me, it was like being in a casino.
I was at
Yes,
180,000 points at one stage and ended at minus 40k, so...
Yeah, dude, I'm actually very disappointed in the way they did that. They didn't account the British people going to a pub on a Saturday, did they?
Mate,
Oh, pubs are still closed!
you watch from the pub.
No, not Sam Smith pubs, because phones and internet is banned.
Now, you told me that you're allowed to use those outside at the Sam Smith pubs.
Yes, but I didn't go outside, did I, Jason?
For Tennocon, you should have.
There
Nope.
were important things to do inside.
Plus, I'm not going to sit outside by myself, am I, like a loser watching Tennocon?
Hey,
Some people are triggered now.
You're not outside by yourself. You're outside with the other, 10 million registered losers.
Yeah, I mean, we have 26 million registered users, which is crazy.
Oh,
Rebecca
dear.
is
Some
proud of
memes
you,
just
Jason.
never die.
So,
We found our new meme.
No, it's something new.
well, that depends which meme you mean.
The losers, Jason, the losers.
He's freshening it up.
That one
Yeah,
will
we
never
should
die.
change the name of the podcast from Warfellas to Losers Club.
Yeah, registered
Like,
losers.
it. Would we get done for copyright if we did that?
I don't know. Did they copyright it?
I don't
What,
know.
losers? I don't think
Registered
so.
losers? I don't think so.
No.
Someone will try.
I should change my Warframe name to the #1 registered loser.
Then you will get a personal message from Rebecca congratulating you.
Yeah, that'll bring Space Mob back.
Does
No, please.
Warframe ban
Wait,
appropriate names on Steam?
They certainly do.
You-
Oh,
You-
wait,
you-
it doesn't use your Steam name, does it? It uses
Now
your
you got to
Warframe
pay
name.
Plat to change it on the Warframe
Yeah,
website.
dude, that sucks. I could have changed my name if it used the Steam one to like Chameleon something.
Oh, good heavens.
Please no.
Let the censoring begin.
All
There
I'm
we
saying
go
is
again.
DE sponsor me, and I'll use that plat for good purposes.
You will color his warframes in a very specific manner involving chameleons.
Bright red, and I'll change my name. I will pay plat to change my name if
Now-
you let me.
You make a joke there, but imagine we did have a chameleon. Okay, that was a. I'm
Okay,
going down a dumb track. I was going to
Yeah.
say we did have a chameleon frame that could change their colors with the environment around them, but that would just be functionally the same as being invisible, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know how
definitely.
awful that would make your life, Jason? You specifically, who is colorblind.
Oh dear, yeah.
Where's my warframe? I don't know. It should be right in front of me on my screen, but I
Hey
can't see
guys,
it.
have you seen my blue Warframe? Jason, what do you mean it's blue? It's pink, dude.
Hey, pink is the way to go.
You
Think
wouldn't
so-
know because you can't see it.
So, Jason, can you tell us more about this abilities workshop
Right, so
nonsense?
for those
Hmm,
of you
yes.
that watch the Tennocon reveal, one of the big things happening is there is basically going to be a giant meat mouth in the infested room
I'm
of your
sorry?
ship.
That came out well.
And it's going to eat your resources that you feed it, and the walls of the room grow tentacles to absorb warframes that you feed it. And of course, this will allow abilities chosen by DE, only one ability per frame. Of note, they said it's not going to be any signature ability of the frame, and it's not going to be their fourth ability, their ultimate move. So, of course, then we're allowed to put those abilities on other frames. Now, naturally everyone's going wild thinking of theories and builds that we could use for this, and people have pointed out problems. I mean, those of you fellas here who were watching with me at Tennocon, we pointed out things like, was it Limbo you said, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Limbo, his abilities all work around people being in the rift, so how do you make one of those separate? And the same true for Grendel, who has to eat someone, or there's a few frames that work like this. And so what we learned from the live home streams that the devs were doing the week following Tennocon was that Pablo of DE is busy going through all the abilities, probably crying blood while he does so, and reworking frames that need reworking, tweaking abilities, buffing some, nerfing others, getting them ready for this big patch. And the full list of abilities that we're actually going to be able to absorb and use in other frames is going to be given to us on the 15th when they release the ability workshop.
Okay. Well,
Which
that
is
is
also
going to be
Saturday.
interesting to see.
It is. So you best find an excuse to stay home on Saturday, Callum.
Are you a virgin?
Hey, you can bring the pub to
Because
your
you're
house,
acting
can't
like
you?
one.
Mate, they watch football in the pub, don't they?
No, because what part of internet, phones, and everything is banned, man?
Oh, what about TVs?
But wait,
Yep, all banned.
They're British. Are you
Wow.
telling me you can't watch football
This
in the pub?
pub, you can't do any of that.
why would you go to
It's a
those
certain
pubs?
brand. Because
Okay.
it's the cheapest pints ever, dude. Before lockdown, the pints used to be £2.30 a pint. And it's really strong beer as well, so it's good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's today I found out I don't understand the English. So you're not all football obsessed.
No, of course not. Mate, when have you ever heard me go, football? Never. Except for that one time there.
That's
I
gonna
play
be a clip
Warframe,
now.
not FIFA.
Hey,
All
just-
right, lads, I'm playing Warframe today. I'd like a bit of football, you know. Where's all the football frames?
Hey,
Woo,
listen, don't
vuvuzela.
give DE any ideas.
We
We've
already
already
have
got
Lunaru.
Lunarable.
Exactly.
We don't need
The
football to.
Conclave.
The
Oh, good
conclave.
heavens.
The Conclave.
There
Yep,
it
there it
is.
is.
So, being that we don't yet have the ability workshop, of course, the big question on everyone's minds is what do we think we're going to get from frames? Some of the community members have already made videos on all the abilities they think will be chosen. A lot of us have either seen those or talked about them. The question is, fellas, which abilities are you most looking forward to subsuming onto your favorite frame?
At most recent, probably Valkyrie's Warcry onto my Excalibur. Because that's just a mess.
Yeah.
Yep. Before we talk about this, what counts as an actual signature ability?
Well, that's the thing. None of us really know. Because one of the creators, Grind Hard Squad in particular, pointed out that we don't actually know if signature ability necessarily means signature as in something that defines the Warframe from a design perspective, or something that the community just likes to pick the frame for and spam until the universe ends. Kind of like what they do with Reuben mods. They don't necessarily judge a weapon based on how good it is. They go based on how many people are actively using it. The less people that use, or at least that was my understanding of it. So we don't actually know what counts as a signature ability. That
Well,
much at the moment is up to our discretion.
This is exactly the issue here because they say signature ability, but what would you say is Wisp's signature ability?
She is signature.
I would say
Exactly.
it's her
Every
seed.
ability is
Well,
unique, right?
No.
Well.
Yeah. Being serious here, I definitely would say her seeds are her signature ability. I could see us possibly even getting her fourth ability.
Do they rule all
yeah.
ultimate abilities as the fourth?
I
All
don't.
ultimates off the table. All fourth
Okay,
abilities.
I wasn't too sure, like too clear on that. But yeah, I guess I didn't put enough research into it because I was just like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to get. Why am I going to spend so much time worrying about it?
I
Yeah,
imagine some frames are just going to be like totally not even given the choice to like transmute powers because surely some of that will be too broken.
well, that's the thing. They've mentioned that Pablo is going to find creative solutions to this. So I suppose it would be, the height of conjecture for us to go and say, all right, we're all going to get the ability to use Grendel's abilities without having eaten anyone, or maybe they're just going to give us the ability to eat people. Because you think Grendel, he's literally got a stomach on his Warframe's belly. Technically, he's the only one that should be able to eat people. That's his first ability. But his second and third don't function unless you have eaten people.
Yeah, and your
That
fourth
makes
is kind of also
everything.
signature because he's a giant ball, and it's
Yeah.
also his ultimate.
So it's a very, very good question. Personally, I'm more keen to see what Pablo is going to do to the frames that we already have, which abilities he's going to discern need to be buffed or reworked. People have been talking
Valkyr's
about
fourth
Zephyr, for
ability,
example.
please. Oh, Zephyr's okay. I don't play enough Zephyr to comment. I only know that the Zephyr build I like is the bulletproof Zephyr.
Ah, yes. It's a tasty build, that one. I was actually going through old footage from 2015. I found Zephyr was usually my frame of choice for surviving in the void, because you just activate that
Wind wall or whatever.
tailwind, and then I don't think was it tailwind, and then there's just air rushing around you. All the bullets redirected. It was great.
Yeah, you did quite a bit of Banshee Zephyr back in those days.
Yeah, all the squishy frames, and now, yeah,
No squish, none
no
whatsoever.
more squish. All about that tank, all in
All
Naros.
about that strong.
Callum, what would you say you're most hoping for to be able to put on another frame in terms of another Warframe's ability?
To be honest, Wisps buffs, but I know it's not going to happen. The seeds just won't be put on anything else.
You don't
But I
think
mean,
they're going to give us the seeds?
They won't give
put
us the seeds.
you put your most love into Wisp recently, right?
Exactly. That's how I know
But
they won't give us the seeds.
Would you replace anything from her with something else?
If I could, I'd take away that bad ult.
It's
And everything else of Wisp is decent. I don't use the third ability much because my range is a bit lower than usual. But if it was higher, I'd use it because it stuns enemies. It's really good. So I'd keep that for like decent builds. But I'd honestly get rid of the ult. The ult is such a letdown on Wisp.
I mean, I saw another friend of ours run with a build revolving around it, and he was just running around laughing maniacally, saying, "How do you like the sun?"
But Haram plays in a very specific way that if he goes down, which he does, it happens a lot.
That's why he's got that with the vampire cat that just sacrifices itself for him.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he also play as Vazarin more these days?
Not at the moment. He's actually Zenric still.
Haram, if you're hearing this afterwards, we got to get you on the show next time to explain yourself.
Yeah,
He
please.
would probably say something about Garuda these days, actually.
Funny you mentioned that. Garuda was one of my frames of choice for handling Grendel's missions. For those of you who are familiar, the missions that you have to face slightly higher than average level enemies, but no mods are allowed. It's a bit more of a struggle than it looks.
By the way, just take Limbo.
Yeah, Limbo is quite cheese for it, actually. Not gonna lie, it's pretty good stuff.
Can you give anything really like from a frame like Baruch to another frame?
Yes.
I mean,
well,
goodness.
You can on the one hand, but that's another thing people have pointed out with Baruch. All of his abilities are centered around dissolving that 1 meter that gives him his power for his ultimate. On their own, they still stand as relatively good abilities, but people want to see if Pablo can make a plan for us.
So, like, for me, like, I'm loving my Valkyrie a lot at the moment, and I would actually get rid of her fourth and third ability. I'm not sure what for, because I don't know how or what we're going to get, but I would even grab a Rhino charge rather than my third ability. And I don't know, even Volt's Shock rather than my ultimate, because Valkyrie's ultimate, to be honest, it just doesn't scale like past level 160, 170.
You're saying it's not viable for hard mode?
I mean, you can use it, and it's just you can't really build sustainable builds for it where it stays viable, in my opinion. I mean, I might be wrong, but I find my melee weapons do more damage than that.
That's another thing, though. You mentioned her third ability. Don't you guys find some frames have been left behind in the power curve over the years, as they, a lot of people say some frames are in need of dire buffs. Anyone think of anyone in particular?
Necros's first ability, bro. What? When would you ever use Soul Punch apart from the revive with the augment?
I think a very good example of what they could do with Soul Punch is what they did with Mag. If any of you remember, early days, Mag could select one single enemy or one ally and use pull to bring them flying towards her, and it was usually insignificant. Now it's like a big angular, everyone in that general direction just gets yeet towards you.
I mean, I could get behind a mass Soul Punch.
Yeah, I reckon that would be real cool. Of course, there are also a lot of, I've noticed, there have been some dissenting opinions about the whole idea of something like the Helminth system at all. Some people are rather upset about the fact that you're going to be able to put one Warframe's abilities on another. I saw a couple complaining posts about this on the Warframe Reddit, actually, because it could be argued that what makes a Warframe unique is their abilities, and generally you have to try and, those abilities which otherwise wouldn't get good publicity, you have to try and work around them just because they're there. And that can lead to creative builds. Do you think this will encourage more creative builds or diminish what's there?
Definitely more creative.
I mean, I do get where they're coming from, though, with the whole it takes away from who the Warframe is. But in the end, the Warframe is who you want it to be, not the scripted personality.
All right, and there's the hippie answer that we all wanted, I guess.
Go on then, Callum, what's your answer?
The real question is, did we actually need a system like this?
Probably
The
not.
answer is no, exactly.
But it will be
how many
How
things
is
in
this also
Warframe?
going to affect the future of Warframe now?
chaos.
Because they've still got multiple Warframes to be worked on. Is this also just an excuse to then also slow down how many Warframes we actually get a year?
Well,
Because they're like, oh, well, we've been working on changing abilities because you can now put it on all these other Warframes. We haven't really had time to work on all these other Warframes. Blah, 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 blah.
Sounds like Railjack. Just,
Well, there we go. We know what D's like. We've been playing this game long enough to think, is this actually a good idea or not?
It's funny you
Only the
say that,
future will tell
actually.
us.
I don't think it's going to slow down Warframe development because we already have Xaku on the way, so that's our new glitch Warframe.
Yes, but we've got 3 Warframes in the works, including that one, Jason.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
doesn't matter.
The Soul
After
Reaper's
that.
coming. Well, 3. I don't know about 3. The picture showed 3, but one of them was.
There's 3. I'm counting Xaku. Because you got the Wraith Warframe, and you got the Alchemist Warframe, and then you have Xaku.
Ah, yes, you're quite right. The one is yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the concept art they posted online. Looking pretty cool. Frankly, I preferred the concept version of Xaku over what was shown on stream, but who knows? Maybe he'll be developed further. I've seen sometimes they take the concept work afterwards and they turn that.
He?
Well,
Yeah, it
my
literally
bad.
specifies
Them?
that he's gender neutral.
My bad,
No,
ladies and
he's
gentlemen.
not gender neutral. He's non-binary. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Get your facts straight.
Yeah,
What do you mean
right.
he's non-binary?
yeah, Callum.
They are non-binary.
They are non-binary. There we go.
Machines.
Oh, we
Yeah.
up. Sorry, everyone.
No, it's good.
Down,
Everyone will learn.
down. The podcast. It's all over. We've been shut down. We've been put down for bad inclusivity. Damn it, guys. We failed that mission.
Hey, there's a difference between honest mistakes and spiteful behavior.
The press release, they said gender neutral.
There we go.
Non-binary. It's a correct term.
So you mentioned if this is all necessary, Callum. I suppose you also speak for a large amount of people who are rather upset about the fact that there was no forewarning about this, and they should maybe not sell all of their regular non-prime frames.
Like, I'm just upset spaghetti because I literally deleted all my frames 2 weeks before they announced it.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many?
I sold 15 frames, dude. 15 frames.
Oh no.
I sold my Avara.
I just never had any frames. I just sell them as soon as I finish mastering them.
No, dude,
Yeah.
when I started playing Warframe, I made it a mission to get every single Warframe in the game, which I did. And then 2 weeks before Tennocon, I was like, hey, you know what? There's no need for these. Let's delete a shit ton of them. And I got rid of 15 frames that day because I have the Prime versions.
I feel like I should put in some Titanic music there, but then we're going down for copyright.
No, you can put 15 to 30 seconds in without copyright.
Okay, I'll put the shitty flute version in.
thought that was the only version.
That,
If I
yeah.
ever die, I want the Kazoo Kid to be playing at my grave.
Mate, I'll be the Kazoo Kid.
Oh dear.
Presuming they don't get me first.
Mom, I want this. We've got this at home, and it's just Jason.
Kazoo Kid at home. With 2 kazoos stuck up my nostrils.
I could have done without that.
Everyone could have, but now they have to. That's
That's right. So
my,
I'm still alive and never see him do that. They're getting shoved up his ass.
my gift to the world.
So, Jason, your opinion on the Heart of Deimos? Because you were also in the relay with us on release, right? Like during the Tennocon, when they gave us like
Yes.
the small teasers, which I thought was super epic.
I have mixed opinions about that actually. On the one hand, it's very, very cool that they secretly shipped updates to the game without telling anyone, without anyone figuring it out either, and then in the middle of Tennocon Relay just dropped us into these showcasing rooms to show us things they were talking about as they spoke about them, you know? I don't think they made it immediately clear that that's what those rooms were for. I think a lot of people were debated into thinking that they were going to release some kind of test for us to do, or a small portion or a mission or something. And of course there was for the people like me who only have one monitor, it's am I watching the stream or do I tab into Warframe and keep looking around this room?
That's what phones are for.
There was some peculiar stuff going on. You know, when you walk around a relay, for example, you can see your sentinel or your Kavato Kubro, your companion, Numoa, but no one else can, right? They each only see their own, and it follows you with a sort of weird AI followy way. I had Stalker following me around the Tennocon relay like a pet.
Oh yeah,
It
you
was
did mention.
it was really strange. I kept trying to outrun him, but he was
Man,
always there.
You didn't record it, did you?
No, I didn't
That
get
would
the
have been
chance. I
something.
was too focused on
The
on
fact that he's there.
on the announcements that were going on. I thought it was cool, but again, yeah, mixed thoughts on that. Regardless, though, I think it was very, very cool.
I mean, an overall Tennocon approved, or was it a good hype for it, worth the wait?
Well, what do you guys think about that?
I missed a lot of
What's
mods. But,
I never bought the
yeah.
Tennocon ticket, so
I
I
did.
just heard about you guys buying some fun mods, and I was just like, it would have been nice.
Could be worse, Josh. I had the Tennocon tickets. I had over 2,000 ducats ready for Barracuteer. And then I checked my credits to buy everything, and I was like, oh no, I'm only on 16,000. What's happened here?
Not enough index.
So, in
Yeah.
conclusion, rip.
You should have just given me your ducats, bro.
None of us were prepared for the ducat drop.
Yeah, no, I was not about to buy Prime Chamber. I don't know if any of you saw what that was costing.
Everyone else wanted you to buy Prime Chamber for them, though.
As if I had the ducats, dude. Good heavens. I've been in this game a while. Don't make me rich. Unless you
No.
talk about signed honors.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
What I found during the release is that I could definitely enjoy seeing stuff like this again, like little teaser rooms. It just was nice to see the scale of things before they happen, before you go into them. And I'm also like I said a couple weeks ago, the biggest excitement for me with the Infested is the new types of enemies we're going to be getting.
You're referring to the
and-
new style, the insectoid looking
Yeah.
infected.
And
You think that we'll be seeing them in other missions, our usual missions?
I believe so, but obviously based on zero fact.
I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah, they would be too good an enemy type to just waste there, you know?
So you know the zip lines, or they used to be the zip lines. Now the things that you ninja sprint across, those little wires. There was a little animation that they showed of, like when they were showing the animations of these things, of the centipede things running along them upside down,
Yeah.
which I think would be like very interesting to see things that kind of, instead of having these scripted jump from platform to platform, kind of, how they doesn't matter on the platform how high it is, they can always just seem to jump up one. We might have something that can scale walls and kind of actually creep us out.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. And I look, the other two open worlds we have, of course, the Plains of Eidolon and the Orb Valis. We've seen unique enemy variants there that add to the open world nature of their combat. For example, we have Grineers that launch mortars that come down on you from far away, or they jet into the air and jump down to your position to blast you away from everything. We got Corpus that do almost the exact same thing on the Orb Valis, and of course they've got a wider variety of powers and mowers available there. But for the most part, I honestly must say I don't feel like those are really different enemies. They feel like the same things we're used to seeing, but with a couple extra powers to their toolkit to help them in the open world. The Infested, on the other hand, as you point out, it's something from a completely new style, and I would really love to see more of that spill into the other tile sets. I don't know about the rest of you.
No,
I'm curious to see how they pull off the more vertical open world. Not so much, Plans of Eidolon and Orb Valis have been very sort of here's a flat, yeah, basically here's a couple of mountains. It'd be pretty cool to do stuff like why not just give us Arcwing races? That would be fun.
You mean insect races?
No, screw the insects.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
how I feel about riding an insect to victory.
and I mean, bring up the insects all the way there. We obviously saw during Tennocon that we'd be able to use, or at least our secondaries while riding them.
Which also counts on K drives now as well.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
that is actually, I mean, we asked for it a while ago to be able to use weapons on our K drive, but I think it will definitely make K drive a lot more fun, being able to do cool stunts while you blow people's faces off.
I'd like to K drive with a sword in hand.
No, I mean, bring it.
Yeah, I think it's just secondaries, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can dream. One can dream.
People finally get the K-driven achievement by actually using their K-drives. Imagine they let
Well-
us use K-drives in the regular tile sets.
In fairness, Reuben, to what you said about dreaming, it's like Lotus said, isn't it? Dream not of what you are, but what of what you want to be.
Does
It's
she say
okay.
that?
We have
I don't
a
know,
new-
but it's on a T-shirt on this Lotus statue that I'm looking at the store.
It's okay. We can forget what Lotus said because new Space Mom. We have Step Mom.
Ah, yes. Mom too. Mother.
Yeah. Although I do kind of get, is it Ballas's sister? That's kind of like a feeling I got. Is that a thing?
Oh dear, I
Or-
hope not.
I think it was Ballas's sister,
They're definitely sharing that long right arm thing.
but we don't know because they were just like, she's like my brother or whatever.
Not
so
in depth about
Well,
it.
no, in
was
the
hinty, but-
Tennocon it was like, oh, well, where's my stupid husband, lol.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
Goodness.
Sweet home Alabama.
No, husband is fine with that, Jason. That's okay. But if it's sister, no. Look,
That's if it's
Well,
both.
There was a picture
Oh.
online of the actual husband, because he's on Deimos, isn't he? He's also in like a weird flower thing.
Oh, well, they did mention, the whole Orican flippin' family hiding in the flowers there, aren't they? They only showed us Mother. Question is, are all the Orican these long-armed freakazoids?
Well, Jason, they can be whatever they like to be as long as they don't bring another fucking faction to grind out.
I've got some bad news for you, lad.
You know it.
I will slaughter you in your sleep.
The Deimos faction.
Yeah,
So-
let's get some theories going. What do you guys think was that room with all the weird Orican symbols in it where they said you're going to unlock the powers of the void or something along those
So-
lines?
I mean, these are obviously all the symbols that we get on our Parazons.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's probably an expansion on Parazon because at the moment, how it is, it's super boring.
Very.
We need more mods. I want to have ways I can use it, like outside of pressing X on a boss and then using it as a grappling hook only when there's a boss. Imagine you could use it as a grappling hook
That'd be pretty cool.
just for free.
We're going into Halo territory now.
Shh.
Oh dear.
But you've got a very, very good point there. I mean, when they introduced the Parazon, it was introduced in such a way as if to say they've always wanted this thing to be seen for what it is. I would say one of the more well-known showcases would be after the Corpus tile set overhaul, and we got a rework of the boss fight, the Jackal. The Lotus, of course, talks about the Parazon while you're on your way to fight the boss, the special built-in blade that all Warframes have that can cut just about anything. It would be nice if there was some lore to why the Parazon is so special.
Like, why can't everything be made of Parazon material then if it's so sharp?
So one thing I was a little bit scared of, because obviously when we play with, when we got Cetus, we got Zol melee weapons, right? And then when we got Orbalis, we got secondaries, and now we got primaries. and I feel like they're probably just going to keep expanding in that direction. Maybe give us more gun parts and such. But what if we get customizable Parasons now?
I mean,
On
that's just another weapon to
you know.
use. Like, what would its customizing bring for it?
It's a good question.
More so, will we ever get to the point where we customize and make our own Warframes?
Looks at Helminth system. Looks back.
Yeah, I was about to
Do
say
we
the Helminth
need-
system does look in that
I
direction.
mean, visually, as in actually putting parts together yourself.
I don't know.
Now
Every
that's-
frame is going to have Wisp's ass.
Okay, so those of you that don't know the YouTuber and community creator ZetaWup, that's ZITAWUP, he's made a video, sort of a meme video of the new Helminth system, where for every ability combination that he's imagined so far, he's photoshopped the two frames' appearances together in a rather comical way in the mission, and then used some fancy photography to make it look like the abilities have been double cast. It's quite funny. It's worth the watch in that avenue of what you just said.
Definitely, yeah, leave a link for that sometime. I can watch that gladly.
Will do. I'll actually put it in the video description as well.
Hmm.
One of the other things worth noting, of course, is that something I wanted to touch on that Callum said earlier. With all these abilities coming to all these different frames, Callum was wondering, if they're going to be working on so many more frames. The other thing one now has to consider, and DE of course must think about the balance of their game from time to time, even though they don't like to talk about it too much. But are they now going to be balancing abilities based on how well they would perform on a build with a different frame?
No,
I
hey,
guess like the best would be to like try broaden or talk about this more when it actually comes out.
like, I
Or
mean,
after the 15th.
Who knows what they'll just do to normal abilities, regardless of being interchangeable.
Yeah, that workshop is definitely something that we're all anxiously waiting for. I mean, a lot of people have even started rebuilding their frames, just hoping that it's really going to be worthwhile.
How many frames have you lads grinded out in preparation?
None, actually.
Yes.
I'm
14.
still trying to grab some. Yeah, Jason, silence.
I mean, what? We've got 5 days until the workshop.
Yeah, I'm not too.
4 days actually. Today's the
I'm
11th.
not too perturbed because
I
if I
mean-
want a frame, almost all of them I can get within a couple hours.
Today still counts, Callum.
Well, then it would still be 4 days, mate.
No, today is a day.
It would still be 4 days then.
No.
It would still be 4 days then.
I was thinking someone's going to start quoting Master Oogway about tomorrow being the future and today being a gift because it's the
Hey,
present.
don't even joke about Master Oogway. That guy's a legend, and I love him.
We need him in Warframe. To replace Teshin, you understand.
Nothing can replace Teshin.
I mean, I told you, I still want Cortana to replace Orders.
That's. We should have a Steam. There should be a Steam workshop for Warframe, not
I would
Tennocon.
love to give Cortana and Warframe Wisp's ass, though.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Now this is a serious question. Because I don't know if you've seen Wisp's back, but it looks like someone went at it with an ice cream scoop.
Well, it's not about the back, is it?
It's about the ass, mate.
Well, I'm referring to the lower back leading down.
Look, and if you want to put an ice cream scoop in someone's backside, Jason, that's up to you, mate.
Hey, now.
Personally, I prefer to put you know what I mean? Or commit.
Oh dear.
Long censoring.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Everything's
Josh,
just beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep.
you mentioned before the stream that you're wondering how people are going to be changing their builds to reflect this new meta. Based on, of course, hard mode having released, the fact that we are now going to be able to change up Warframe abilities, and that might change the way people choose to build their frames, considering the buffs they can give each other. You also mentioned because there's going to be prevalent infested, hopefully at a high enough level to challenge late game players. Hopefully there will be a hard mode iteration as well. Do you think there's going to be some variation in the way people build?
Yeah, because I mean we've been always looking at how to make a build that you can take into almost every mission and do well without having to have a build for each specific faction, right?
This
But
is true.
Now we are coming to a stage where we might have high enough. Well, we will be having high enough levels to actually have specific builds for each every faction separately, which makes quite an interesting case for the infested, because they've got very interesting resistances and vulnerabilities, which normally wouldn't be viable against the other factions. So certain weapons that kind of fall off late game and that don't ever seem to fall off with the infested.
Mm.
For
Too
instance,
squishy.
weapons with lower slash damage and such actually are viable.
Do you think maybe that DE is going to be expanding upon the infested flesh types with this update, thus giving people new ways to fight the infested and new resistances to the old methods?
I would like to see that. I was actually pulling up the wiki a bit earlier, just in preparation for some questions similar to this, because the only stuff we really have on infested are infested health, which are separate to normal health, and ferrite armor. Really, like juggernauts, I believe they also only have ferrite armor. So we've only got two types of flesh or resistances to deal with here. Unlike we have robotics, flesh, shields, and I think there's one more thing with the corpus, and then obviously the
Grenier.
Grenier have
Yeah.
the two different types of armor, the alloy and the ferrite, and then they also have cloned flesh, which is once again three different element types. So are we going to get another I would say element type flesh? I don't know what you would call them, but flesh type.
That might
on the
bring
infested.
something out in weapons that one necessarily wouldn't build for.
Yeah, so like, are we going to finally have a reason that we're going to build a blast weapon or something,
Or like build for impact or puncture or something.
What do you think, Callum?
I don't really care as long as my 9 former Fullman does the job.
Now, you speak nicely of your 9 former Fullman, but you've recently discovered the Archoplasmor.
Yes, but it's not 9 former Archoplasmor, is it?
But you're gonna do it, aren't you?
Maybe, we will see. We will see. We'll have to wait for the next
Former.
episode of Warfellas.
It's just
You think
on
that's
the
enough time for 9
the-
former?
note of damage types. I also noticed going through this that the Basmu, which was the gun from Scarlet something,
Yeah, Scarlet Spear.
the Scarlet Spear, is the only weapon that has a damage type called true damage. It completely ignores armor and hits straight to flesh, and the flesh has no resistances and takes no bonus damage from it.
Interesting. Is that different to what we've been calling void damage?
Completely different. So
Mm,
Void is
yeah.
its own damage type. True is this another damage type that was introduced with the Basmu.
Was it only introduced with the Basmo?
Some
Goodness.
Warframe abilities do true damage. Here on the wiki.
It's my understanding, isn't it, that finisher damage fills that category as well?
Yeah.
It might possibly, because I don't know how I'll be doing 2 million damage otherwise.
Because I remember back in the days, people used to be going big on Ash's ult. This was before we had even Mesa as the nuke frames. And that was what was considered true damage that went past everything. But I'm a bit fuzzy on the history there. I can't quite recall. I do think it's a very interesting idea that we might be getting new health types to fight against, but I wonder what ramifications that might have on the rest of the game and on the balance. I don't expect that's something we'll see immediately soon. But the other part of Heart of Deimos that I'm rather excited for is the procedural dungeons.
Mm.
I'm just hoping that they don't mess it up like Dragon Age 2 and such, and give us only 8 or 12 different tile sets to choose from with these procedural ones.
Yeah, my hope is that it somehow changes in the mission so that you won't have to leave and come back every time to get new cave systems. So for those of you that don't know, they're going to be introducing an underground cave system. This is part of what you were talking about, Reuben, I think, when you mentioned the verticality in Heart of Deimos.
Yeah, canyons and whatnot.
Yeah, rather than the vast horizontal expansion. And actually, did anyone remember them saying how big this is going to be compared to the plains of the Orb Vallis?
I don't even think they
No.
spoke about it.
It wasn't, and what we saw wasn't enough to really get a feel of scale for the entire area.
They may have said something, but I don't think during Tennocon itself, because they were like an hour behind time or something when they finished.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They were running a bit behind schedule. So underneath the I don't know what the infested open world is. Is it just called the Heart of Deimos?
It does look like it's
because
called
it's a whole the
Deimos.
whole area is called Deimos, isn't it? It's a whole
Yeah,
new
I think
area
it's
on the
called
star
Deimos.
chart.
Yeah.
Well, it's the derelict, isn't it? They got rid of that, and they just
It's the-
created the whole Deimos thing. So around the one area is
Hmm.
all the old places, but you don't need the keys to get in now.
Yeah.
I suppose
Mostly
there's
it'll be
that,
more
yes. And it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts the. I don't want to go too off track yet. We'll talk about the lore of that in a moment. But yeah, so these going to be these underground dungeons and tunnels that are going to be procedural, and we know DE is very good. It's one of the few games that's been able to successfully entertain people for many years with procedurally generated tile sets that are fun to navigate and maneuver around. We're hoping, obviously, that they do the same thing with the tunnels and the dungeons underneath. I'm hoping for more than just a repeat of the Orokin treasure rooms, of course.
Yeah. Another thing to note is that obviously the vaults are going to have to be moved somewhere or kept inside the Heart of Deimos now, the Orokin vaults. So, maybe
Yeah,
an
but they could
open.
easily just put into the new levels because it's not like they got rid of the levels. The levels are still there. You just don't need keys anymore.
But were you
Yeah,
gonna?
I think what he means, Josh, is that it's like Plains of Eidolon added to Earth, but they didn't incorporate all the Earth missions.
I know, I get that, but I'm thinking that they might incorporate the keys or the vaults into the Heart of Deimos open world.
Except I don't think it'll be a part of the open world. It'll be the part of the mission still. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get
They'll
that.
they'll take
I'm
like
just
the vault
wondering if they
doors.
might change it
The doors
because
will
they've
be
got
there,
an
but I imagine
opportunity.
it'll be infested doors. I don't think they'll be in the open world because then it's too easy to farm, and DE don't like to do that type of shit. Any convenience in your life is out the window, my friend.
Forget
That's why I
about
reckon there's going to be 3 factions with this.
Well, there's I don't know who's going to be the mech faction. We're going to get rideable, customizable mechs that we can call down, sort of like our Arcwing weapons. I'd love to be able to call those down in missions like the Arcwing weapons, but I get a feeling it's going to be kind of like the K-Drive and the Arcwing, which you can only call down in open world environments.
Well,
I
this
just
should-
want them to be
yeah.
customizable. I want them to be like what you said earlier, Reuben, where you sort of design it yourself.
Yeah.
There's a mech game that's been popular on Steam lately. I forget what it's called, but there's like 1 million pieces you can pick to build your mech from scratch. I want that in Warframe.
I mean that alone should give us a better idea of what the scale of the area of Deimos is going to be if mechs can move around on it. I mean,
Okay,
surely
for
they.
starters as well, I'm going to have to shut you down here, Jason. You do not want 1 million parts to be able to craft from in Warframe. Thank you very much.
Because you've got to go
Think
get
of
them
all
all.
the time and efforts and all the resources. No, thank you, dude. I know what DE's like. They only want an arm and leg, a kidney, a flipping kidney stone on top of that as well for some strange reason. For one part, and that'll be the arm only. Good luck getting the rest of the parts, the other 2 legs, the other arm, the head, the chest. Absolutely not. Be gone.
And
You
the
do not
most
come here with
used
your ideas.
resource, it'll probably be something we thought we wouldn't ever have enough of: nanospores.
Oh dear, don't do that. I run out of nanospores all the time because I have a pizza factory, remember?
Yes, well, that's you. You have an
your
overproduction
fault.
pizza factory. Truly.
I'm really hoping
What's-
that the Helminth has a greater taste for alloy plates than nanospores.
Dude, I'm worried about that because that has levels. You know there's going to be levels on Deimos, and for some reason, every time they've released an open world, they always have a secret, second faction in the back room or whatever. There's going to be one of them. I'm telling you now, there'll be 3 flipping things to level up with Deimos, and I'm going to be well pissed.
Well, on the one hand, you're likely to be right. On the other hand, I wouldn't mind seeing more content out there.
Is
But
it content, Jason? Can you really count that as content?
I think what's important to remember is what Steve said when we first saw the Helminth system. He said this is definitely not going to be something for new players, and they said that for Railjack as well, but then enough new players complained that they nerfed the cost so that it was, and I don't think that was a bad thing for it. In fact, I think it improved Railjack significantly because they got a lot more feedback after they did that, and then they had to release updates. For this, however, I would agree with him. I would think a lot of new players might see this feature and think, oh cool, I want to rush to that so I can start moving abilities around the frames, and then get disheartened when they see, oh, it's actually going to delete my old frames, and there's this cost. But on the other hand, for newer players, I think it's also going to be something to look forward to, because now it's not just, okay, I have the Prime version of Frost already, I don't need to go farm the regular one. Now you have a reason to do it. You're using Frost Prime, you're like, hey, I like this skill, can that be taken? It can be. Okay, I want to go farm Frost, so I can use him in here. I think it gives people motivation to do things they otherwise wouldn't do, because the only motivation for getting things like the other frames before once you have their primes is just MR grind, and that's no fun.
Right, well, in that case, Jason, if people need motivation, like, D, you should just hire me, because I'll get a baseball bat and I'll be like, listen here, you lazy go farm the frames so I don't have to suffer.
Whack,
You'd
whack,
have them farm them
whack.
for you, though. That's the difference.
Admit that's slavery. We don't stand that here, okay? We're all inclusive, Jason. My goodness, man.
Yeah, the Oricans
Getting
had
us
the
cancelled
Granera
again.
slaves. Who says you're not Orican? I haven't seen how long your arms are.
Singular.
Just one arm.
You
Just
have
one
seen
arm.
how long my arms are. We used to go to the same school.
Well, the Oricans were masters of disguise.
I've never read that, Jason.
Nor have I. But if I saw one and they told me, if I walked past an Orican and they creepily held their gargantuanly long arm up to their face and went shh, I would nod quickly and walk away,
Why are we friends with you?
because I protect you from the Orican creepy people.
It's,
No.
he's in league with them. He knows how to keep them quiet.
Yeah. No, he's in the same boat.
Which brings me to my next point. Does
Yeah.
Lotus still care about us?
No.
No,
Just betrayed us.
No,
Definitely
I'd like to prove you guys wrong completely here. Very
Mhm.
easily actually.
Okay.
If you all load up store.warframe.com, right?
I don't
They
know.
are currently, showing off a very time limited, nice little statue. There's actually two versions of it. One version will cost you $174.99, right? The other version will cost you, I've lost it now, $219.99. Okay.
That's a lot
Praise
of
the
money.
void.
This is limited time, boys. So go and spend all your money on the store. I wish
Just
we had
the-
like affiliate codes because I would not mind a good 15% over these sales if I'm honest with you.
is this
Um,
the is this the
D,
one
if you're
carrying the
listening,
operator?
we hereby
I'll
endorse the
get
sale
there,
of
I'll get
these.
there. So time limited, right? Pre-order until October 1st at midnight, essentially, and then you have to expect it to be shipped 6 months from when the pre-orders are finished, which is bonkers, especially for the price you pay. But right, there's two different versions. There's one of the statue, which is just Lotus carrying the operator from the second Dream Quest,
Yeah.
and then there's a second Dream collection as well,
Oh,
which gives you a
no.
T-shirt with a Lotus quote saying "Dream not of what you are, but what you want to be." Blah blah blah.
Isn't that the Iron Giant?
I don't know. It's Lotus now, me dude. It even has the Warframe symbol on it. Look at it. I didn't know what I wanted to say there, so like me dude. It's like I was suffering from a stroke or something. But you get a war pin, and you also get a Stalker sigil pin, and then of course you get a little noggle of Lotus, and 300 and something plat.
300 plat, so like 1 arcane
370
level
plat.
5.
For
Why do
200
they add the plat? Can't they just subtract that from the cost of the statue and be like, yeah, the statue's cheaper?
No, DE actually runs on plat. An actual
DE does
currency in
run
the
on plat.
office.
But
Yeah.
it's not like they want my money because they won't give me a 75% off. Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Yes. The only buyers in the 75% off club.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's the only time.
Don't you know, Callum, to force that you have to not log in for a month.
No, well, sorry, Warframe, I'm
Yeah.
not playing the rest of the month.
We'll tell you about all the grind you have to do for Deimos, and that'll keep you away.
We'll get
Oh,
you
yeah,
in
you're
Skyrim
right.
instead, Callum.
I'm not touching Skyrim, dude.
It's okay, we'll put Warframe mods on it. You won't notice.
Oh, that's going a bit too far.
Even for Reuben.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
Like, I
illegal.
would mod anything, but that's too much.
I mod it right or I don't mod it.
Lydia has been replaced with Mag.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lotus.
Well,
Sworn
actually,
to
which
carry
one
all
would
your
be more
burdens.
useless? Because
What
of course, no, but on a serious note for the lore there, right? The last, and this is spoilers for those of you that haven't come up to date with the story in Warframe lately, so maybe mute the next minute. But in the last story quest video, right, we do see Lotus's old sentient brother tossing Ballas around and then tossing Lotus around when she starts to remember what happened and then commanding her that she needs to finish what she started. Doesn't that seem like she's having some kind of regret?
Kinky
Or...
Hmm.
Well, they're robots. I don't think they have to do that.
Are they robots though?
It's just plugs. You know,
Are they?
multi-plug.
Hot plugs.
I mean, Lotus knows all about multi-plugs. Have you seen her helmet?
Well,
True enough.
look, I've watched Avatar. You know, we know what they do with those flipping ponytails, man.
Not the Kubros.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh no. I guess now we know why the Kavat's tails look like they do.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
no.
an Avatar thing.
I'm leaving.
So we're almost at the end of our time slot for today.
Yeah.
Last thing I'd like to ask up on is what feature have we not been teased yet that you would be keen to see in the upcoming update? We know they never tell us everything that's coming. In fact, we hope they don't, because otherwise we would be sad. Not that there's not enough content, but it's nice to be surprised. Is there anything you would like to be surprised by? Quickfire round. Josh, you go first.
Some more Warframes, like we got with Warfellas, maybe.
You would like an unannounced frame.
Yeah. And maybe some more like Nidus vibe people. More infested frames. You know, because we only have the infested frame with Nidus. It'd be nice to have more.
You know, if Pablo were listening to this, he would be sweating blood.
More than usual.
I live to make Pablo sweat. But not in a sexual way, but
Yeah,
Too late. You've already taken it that way, I'm afraid.
Oh dear.
I had a feeling it might happen.
Sweating intensifies for Pablo.
Reuben, what would you like to be surprised by?
I mean, I
I
wouldn't
heard
mind.
men.
I mean, that would be a surprise, but not one I would like to encounter. And weapons, but like infested weapon, but not like at least visually. Not don't give me like a ball sack again that I throw around as a secondary.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. Oh, those things.
Yeah.
Yep, more infested weapons. You know, they did mention in previous dev streams that they are looking at adding more Zor components.
Oh
Now,
yes.
That's not to say that necessarily that we just want infested Zors. Obviously, we already have Operation Plague Star.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other weapon categories that we've never seen Zors of. For example, you can't make a Tonfa Zor. We've never been able to make a Blade and Whip Zor. Those sort of things.
Dual wielding swords.
Or like a gunblade Zor.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, you know that you're onto something there.
That would be a mess.
Infested Gunblade.
Oh, I'll say this as well. It would be a nice treat if Hydroid's deluxe skin, if the Admiral cloak is able to go on other Warframes.
Ooh,
That would
that
be
looks
fun.
so fantastic, dude.
Yeah, that would be fun.
All right, and Callum, what would you like to be surprised by?
The removal of focus and all rep grinds.
Let's see. Let me go to the Steam store and find you a different game.
I actually think they have a Lego simulator where you can buy all the parts.
Now, I tell you, I would like to be surprised by at least one new story mission leading up to the events of the new war. Because I think what we have at the moment is still a prologue. You know, you've got the 2 out of 3 complete and there's space for one more mission. But obviously that's not the whole quest, is it? The whole next thing that's coming.
Yeah, because it doesn't
Just
count as complete.
cutscenes.
They're just getting ready. I mean, the sentient thing, it's coming back, but our interest is waning, so they can catch us off guard.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. You know, with everything the game's been building to lately, from the start with Alad V's amalgams to where we are now with this whole heart that controls the void that the sentients want to get rid of because it's their only poison.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of interesting dynamic they have to work with.
Oh, I do feel like they're obviously gonna keep something as a surprise. They always seem to. But yeah, I'm also interested in having a new type of boss fight. Not that I didn't enjoy the Old Mother, but I didn't enjoy the Old Mother.
I'm with you there, actually. That would be a cool new thing to see.
Yeah.
But aren't we getting 2 boss fights?
Well, it looks like it's just a day and night version of the boss fight, so it also will be nice to not have to wait for that only short period of night to fight a boss, you know?
I remember there was that big golem underground that Rebecca couldn't hurt either.
Yeah, so I think it'll be. It feels like it's going to be bigger. That's what it feels like to me. A bigger world.
Mm.
Maybe not as open, but bigger at least.
And of course, Barracuda will be coming this
Oh.
weekend. So here's hoping it's not just reruns again, fellas.
No.
Hopefully
Well-
get something new.
And a couple of new mods one day would be nice.
Yeah,
that
that's-
would be a real prize.
That would be nice. Now, here's the funny thing. By the next time we're set to record this, we will have already had the workshop on the abilities, but technically we would be recording on Heart of Deimos release day, the 25th.
Hmm.
But what are the odds?
So maybe
Give-
we could even postpone the recording a day then and fill it with some perspective. Who knows?
Or maybe
I'd
we
also
should-
like to
horror
point
story.
out, on the 25th, I will be streaming Warframe at twitch.tv/Raygun007. So make sure you come and join me. I'll be dragging as many of these assholes as I can into the streams. So come and join. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, we have a link in the description to his Twitch channel. Go give it a follow and you'll know when he's live. That is all we have time for today, though. So thanks for joining, everyone. It's been good having you guys on the show again.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, always fun to chat with you guys.
And thank you, people out there, for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.
Right to the pub.
To the pub.
I love it. I'm proud of you guys.